a problem.
All right. Take it away, Vi.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here on a Monday evening. My name is Vi. I represent AventuraWorld, who is the organizer of this trip. The chamber is the organizer of the trip. We are the guys who run the show behind the scenes. I represent. We have actually worked. This is the second time we are working for the chamber, and I'm really happy that we are doing the second trip again to a very interesting destination. The previous one was in southern Spain, a different kind of location, and now it's going to Tuscany in Italy. I mean, this place is really a bucket list destination for a lot of people. So I'm really happy that you are here. This particular presentation will talk about the destination, definitely. It will talk about, it will show you some great pictures. It will talk about certain moving parts of the program. It will also talk about how to book the program, how to avail the different services that are available, and why this particular trip is organized by the chamber. And last and not the least, a little sundry items like cancellation policies and insurance services. What are the changes that we have brought upon based on the suggestions we have got from previous trips, including the chamber's previous trip and so on. So we have brought in some changes to our booking portal, to our insurance explanation, to the cancellation policy, how it is depicted on our communication so that people understand it a little better. And we try to bridge that communication gap as we had previously. But luckily, we had a very successful trip. We had somebody who was detected COVID positive right before the trip, and he really easily availed the insurance without getting trapped or staying back in the destination rather than they were staying at the home. Got the money back through the insurance route, so it worked out really well for them. So there are some positives, there are some negatives, and we're trying to plug those ends, and every time we are improving. So here's something about AventuraWorld. We are celebrating our 50th year this year. So last year we were 49 years old. This year we'll be 50 years old. Our head office is in New Jersey, in Moonachie, and we have some international offices. I am personally based out of Vancouver, Canada. I take care of the Pacific coastal connections of my organization, and Arizona happens to be my easternmost limit to that. So beyond you guys, I don't work with any other US chambers. There are somebody else who does that. We have other offices in US, one in San Diego. We have international offices, one in Paris, a partner office in Rome, in London, a back-end office in New Delhi, and also a major presence in Cairo, Egypt. We are member of the Saqqara International Group, which is a US and Egyptian organization with thousands of employees all over the world, owning hotels, river cruise boats, tourist coaches, and many other of those destination services. Saqqara, the name comes from one of the oldest pyramids in Egypt. So definitely the Cairo office is of great essence to us. We are known as value travel providers for international destinations. We are the official travel partner of the Association of Chambers of Commerce Executives. Why chambers do these trips is for international awareness activities, for international exchanges, for meeting like-minded people on a trip, and also definitely showing it to the community that the chamber can be a fun place to be. So, and obviously every chamber has their own intangible goals that they would specifically have to themselves. So we just add a little bit of spice to it. We are a company that changes with time. So I basically introduced this particular line to showcase that yes, we do change with time. We have a unique experience of traveling while the decline of the pandemic protocols, if not the pandemic in itself. So while we were seeing the protocols waning off, getting relaxed, fall of 2021 is when we had more than 2,400 passengers that traveled with us to various destinations. That is something that we can boast about. Why? Because we learned a lot. We learned how things are carried out in these kind of situations. What is the value of good communication? What is the value of nimble policies? Policies like liberal cancellation, policies like cancel for any reason insurance, and things like improved final documents that come to you before the trip. So we have worked a lot harder during our Christmas breaks, improving those kind of things. We work with a lot of American and Canadian nonprofits for most of these international awareness programs as we offer. The trip that you would be taking is going to Tuscany. I hope everybody has the flyer as it is being a little screen grab is there on the slide. The trip departs on the 3rd of October 2022. Amazing time to be in Italy. It is one of the finest weathers without the hassle of being the costliest times to be there. So you could have gone a month earlier and paid a lot more, but it's the shoulder season with one of the best weathers. You're still going very close to the peak season, just towards the end of September, enjoying a great weather without paying for the August and September prices. There is so much the pictures speak for themselves. So if there are certain pictures of significant places, I will just pause a while and keep scrolling because you already have made up your mind. In your mind, you're imagining Tuscany. In your mind, you're recalling the movies, the documentaries, the news clips, the travel books that you have seen about the destination. Great food, unparalleled food. I have a lady here from Idaho, from the potato capital, going to the tomato capital. So that's what Tuscany is about, seriously, tomatoes. Seriously, great food, great hospitality, fun people, relaxed, laid-back lifestyle. They love their history, they love their art. They are one of the pioneers of the Renaissance culture. Art and craft and a lot of things have come from this region in the world. Day one, we fly from US to Europe. We have seen that flying from Phoenix has its own pluses and deltas. The good part is it's still close to our home. The bad part is we have to take connections. It's not like very much of a connection, like too many connections or connections with hassles. But yes, we would have to take a connection somewhere in a major airport in US or at a major airport in Europe. One thing we can guarantee is that we work with major airlines, prominent ones, and not with low frill airlines. So you always happen to fly with some airline which has a good standard, good rating, decent aircrafts, decent crew. But the most important thing that we do while selecting a flight is about connections and the arrival time in the destination. Lately, what we have seen, especially because of the demand-supply gap for various airlines scrambling through schedules, is there are a lot of last-minute schedule changes. We try to mitigate them, but not everything is in our hands because we don't fly these airlines. We just book on them. So we are slightly dependent on those kind of things, but through experience, through working in the industry for so many years, the things that we pick for you are the best suited ones according to the trip that you are taking. We want you to arrive at a time when your rooms are supposed to be ready. We want you to arrive at a time when you have ample time to relax for the next day's activity. And we want you to take a flight which does not make you stay on your connecting airport for a very, very long time. So imagine the number of moving parts we are trying to control over here. And hopefully we happen to fly in the most convenient fashion possible. Day two is when we arrive in Italy. This is where the Tuscany area is. So surrounded by so many places like Florence and Pisa and Bologna and Sienna, and that's the region that is what is called as Tuscany. I would really appreciate after this presentation or anytime you find over the weekend later on in the month, just check out what Tuscany is about, what specialities it has, pick up some keywords from today's presentation and just be a little more curious about it. It will really help you in deciding for going to the trip or not. It's a great destination. I must say, for many years, this has been either the bestseller or the second bestseller we have had. So even in different Italy trips, Tuscany happens to rank number one. You are welcomed by our staff at the airport. You are, you are put into a tourist coach bus. A little bit of briefing is given. You're assisted with your baggage, and you are taken to the hotel on day 2 when you arrive in Rome. We are staying for the entire duration of this trip in a town called as Montecatini Terme, or lovingly called as Montecatini. Now, the interesting part about this trip is, and similar to what we had in Spain, was that this is a single hotel travel program. So once you check in, you are checking out only once you are going back home, or you are extending your trip for a Rome extension. We'll come to the extension part slightly later in the session. So it's no more frequent check-ins and check-outs. You stay put at one place, you enjoy it. There is ample free time to take strolls and explore the surroundings. But the good part is you're very centrally located in the country meadows kind of an area where you drive in different directions each day to check out places that have been scheduled in your itinerary. So you don't travel a lot of distance every day. I would say the longest drive you would do in one single stretch would be little under 2 hours. So and obviously on the way you are checking out some important and interesting sites. So those little pit stops even make it look very easy. So staying at the central, at a nice calm place, no frequent check-ins, check-out, no frequent unpacking and packing really makes this trip much more easier. And again, as I said, the chamber's prerogative is always to be friends with you guys, to hang out with you in a more relaxed fashion, also allow you to meet other chamber people who might be on the same trip with you or would join you over there. So it's a good way to meet with Italian people and also your compatriots coming from other places. I mean, take your cameras, have spare memory cards. I must say you would just not stop clicking. Extend your cloud storage space on your phones or whatever best way you can increase the memory. It will really help you, because everywhere you turn in this region, you have some great photo opportunities. This whole region is very pedestrian friendly. It has a lot of these small places, cafes and boutique shops and pretty promenades in very traditional style of setup. It's really interesting. You can just sit on a cafe side, sip in your coffee and see the world go by. You will have those kind of free time slots during the trip. And I'll keep rolling through the images. As I said, there's so many things to see. One of the first things that we do is a day trip to Florence. And again, Florence is the capital of the Renaissance. So great buildings, great churches, and it's just beautiful. I mean, I'm short of words when I do this presentation every time because I want to go back again and again. A lot of things to see in Florence. We cover a lot of ground, but the good part is one of the things that we really take pride on is the kind of guides we choose for this one. Since we have a local office in Rome, it also gives us an opportunity to pick the guides that particularly work with North American clients. So they understand the questions and the point of view from which the questions are coming from an American mind. And that's what really helps. That helps for them to give you a parallel from the Italian point of view. So it's not just about a narration about what place you are at, what's the significance of the place, but also drawing parallels to where you come from. And they, if not everything, they have some decent knowledge about the United States, or for the Canadian people from Canada, and they can draw those parallels and make your journey more interesting. Again, great photo ops, a lot of things that you do in Florence, go to some significant spots. This is one of my favorite pictures. There you are. And we go to the Piazza della Signoria, again, a great way to see how the cities in Europe started coming up, started spanning from a central spot, which is mostly the main church or the basilica, and then growing around it with different things, different events in the history, layers of history as they happen. We go to the Palazzo Vecchio, sorry, and it just gives you an example of how it used to look like in the 1400s and right now how it looks like. So hardly anything. So this is the arches, the building that you see, and again, the same thing over here. So how nicely they have kept and restored those things and maintained them. That's a great thing. And this place has endured a lot of ups and downs. So let me tell you, they have really done a great job in keeping those places intact. Just a picture from our previous groups, what they did. That's a typical group that you might be a part of. The good part is your chambers group has been smaller, so it will be a more compact group. But if you end up being a big group, you're always allowed to split into two manageable ones. Allow that thing to be done by the local guides and your tour manager. But yeah, maybe for the photo, everybody came together, but for sightseeing, they were in different directions. So, and this picture is from end of November last year. So obviously they are wearing more warm clothes because they went towards the end of November. Just like our Spain program, in each of our programs, we have this activity called as the Cultural Discovery Series. We go to the Ultramod District talking about the amazing tile making and ceramic work that happens over here. It allows you to talk to local artisans, speak to them, and go to a non-touristy spot where this art is practiced. You get to meet the local artisans, ask them where they source their materials from, where they get inspiration from, and what's the history of this art, how things are doing right now. I mean, as curious as you can be. Take a stroll in the local market, pick up something if you want to, and the next day we go to Pisa. So Leaning Tower of Pisa, again, happens to be one of the wonders of the medieval world. Again, a bucket list place for a lot of people. Let me tell you, this is a lucky shot for somebody without that many people in between. So somebody clicked a really nice picture or has used some software to wipe people off from here. But yeah, it's a great place to be. Again, a picture exactly from the same said group from last year. They shared a lot of pictures with us, thanks to them, just to showcase what happened in the fall in 2021. So great places, great sites to see in Pisa. And yeah, you can do all that fun stuff if you want to. Okay. And we have a visit to Lucca. And again, I'm not getting too much into the details of the places you are going to. I could have spoken about the significance of these places. Again, I invite you to be curious to check them out. Also, I leave it to the people who are facilitating it on the ground, because those are the guys who will tell you the real story, who will weave it in their own style. If I tell it to you, you never know how good a storyteller I am. And you would say, oh yeah, that sorts it. I don't have to go to Tuscany anymore. I've seen the pictures, I've heard the story, I'll save some money. So I'll restrict myself over here. And we are getting more and more people joining in. I hope I'm not going that quick that they miss. If anybody who has joined in recently, have not missed a lot. We're just seeing some pictures. That's it. The real deal is coming much later. So we have the Sienna Tour again. As I was talking about, this is what I learned while I was about exploring all these places, that you have a church or a cathedral in between, and the city just grows organically around it. Any typical traditional European city you see, this is what it would look like for a town planner, not for an artist, but at least from the town planner's perspective, this is what a city is typically like. The cathedral is right in the center, mostly the tallest building. So that's what most of the cities in traditional setup look like in Europe. some pictures, paintings from the past showing the city, what it used to look like, and now what it looks like. So you can still see plantations on the slopes, and this really facilitates wine cultivation in this area. Some pictures from, again, the same group. I know this group has submitted a lot of pictures. Somebody was a shutterbug among them. I'd like to show you one more thing. You see this little blue device hanging through their necks. This is called as a whisperer. Everybody is given with a whisperer so that whatever narration your guide is doing, you can listen to it without any disturbance from around. Obviously, it's not noise canceling because that's very unsafe while you are walking, but it really helps you, even in a case when you think that you're still left behind, but you can still listen to the narration that is going on. And you see the other lady wearing this lanyard, which is just a goodie that we send out to all our participants. It's kind of a really nice accessory to have to keep some handy change and keep your name out there and just be identified in the crowd. So that really helps. Some other pictures from the Sienna Tour. Yeah, hope I was there. And more, and more. Okay, so now San Gimignano, and I really can't pronounce this name, but I can pronounce Chianti Tour. So this is the wine country. So we have this opportunity of doing another cultural discovery activity within the wine country, understanding about how this place developed different things, how this place has evolved over the times, and most importantly, how they have developed their wine culture in this area. Great place to pick up some souvenirs, some food items. But if you're picking anything raw food items, you can't bring them back to US. If you're picking any edible stuff, make it a point that it is packed with proper labeling, especially in English language. So there might be an Italian labeling all over it, but even if it has a couple of sentences which explains what's inside it, it will help you in bringing it back to US. Otherwise, a lot of times it's thrown away. So if you're picking anything which is edible, please do have it in a way that it has a labeling over it in English language. Great place to pick up all those kind of things over here. Great place to pick up wine, actually. Pottery. I mean, if you think you can carry fragile items, definitely it's a great place to pick those kind of souvenirs. It's just endless meadows in this area, vineyards and wine areas. You have the opportunity of doing wine tasting, going to a vineyard and understanding what they make, see their cellars, and the cultural discovery activity is the wine tasting. Now, I must say October is not the harvest season, but for all the wine tours that I have done, it totally depends on what they are growing. So some of the grapes are harvested in October, and our tour manager tries their best to take you to a vineyard that has the harvest season going on. But this thing cannot be guaranteed. So different varieties of grapes are harvested in different times of the year, at different maturity level and so on. So if I would say we'll pull all the strings to take you to a place which has that kind of an action going on. Otherwise, you're mostly hitting the cellars and tasting wine and biting on cheese or some nice local, snacks or something. But after a couple of glasses, nobody cares where they are. So yeah, so that's what it is. But it's a great thing. It's a more traditional thing. If you have done other wine tours, I must say this ranks really, really high in the quality, in the content, and tradition. So after France, Italian wine tours, the Italians would not accept, but that's what they are. They rank number 2 after France, but Italians would say we are the number 1, and so would the Spanish do. And then from somewhere, the Americans would say, hey, yeah, but we have the Napa Valley, and so whatever it is. But this is really amazing. Let me tell you, this is really fun. And if you are into wines, if you want something for your collection, you can definitely bring back. I think you can bring back a couple of bottles, but all you need is a very nice packaging to be done. So please ensure if you're bringing it back, Or if you pick it up at the the tax-free, the duty-free thing, then those guys already know what to do. But if you want to pick it something right from the vineyard, just be a little more careful about the packaging. I've had my accidents. Luckily, it was a white wine. They did not color my clothes. Yeah. So there are certain optional activities that are available to you. So why we offer optional activities? This was a question posed to us in some of the other tours and came as a feedback that why do we have optional activities? Well, there are reasons for it. Chambers of commerce are organizations that bring businesses and local communities together. And sometimes some chambers of commerce want to have free time while on the tour so that they can organize something independent themselves. Some chambers do business meetings, some chambers do their own dinner or receptions, some chambers do some presentations, and some chambers just hang out and take a walk or something. So we have to give that free time. However, there are people who don't want to participate in it and they want to do something else. So that's why we bring in these optional activities. There are other reasons. For example, some optional tours have a little more physicality to it, so not everybody can do it. So if you think that you're up for it, well, all the ones in here are easy to do. They're quite leisurely, but in certain destinations, there are things like, for example, we used to offer a hot air balloon thing somewhere, and a lot of people were afraid of heights. So they ended up saying that, why do we pay for something that we are not going to avail? So yeah, we have to keep certain things like that, either to accommodate a chamber's own initiatives or just to give free time, like a break time, because you've already done a lot of touring to Sienna, to Chianti, to Florence, and to Pisa. So you want a break in between. So obviously that also creates a scope for that. So we have the Cinque Terre tour. It's a coastal town right on the cliff, amazing scenery. People just go there for the scenery, for the little fishing village that has become a prominent tourist destination. But yeah, it has properties worth millions because a lot of wealthy retirees have gone over there and made its permanent residence. So yes, it becomes really dear to those people, and that makes the place a whole lot different from what it looks like now. It's a great place, great local marine stories about fisher folk, about some local songs and culture, and how it is different from the farming areas of Montecatini and Chianti. It's more of a coastal flavor to the whole thing. Still in Tuscany, still on that undulated plateau and little hills, but it's very different from the inner land part of Tuscany. You have some free time to walk around, take a walk, and again, this is a great thing to do because when you have spent a good amount of 4 or 5 days in the country, you feel a little more confident about doing things by yourself. If you are given a free time right towards the front, and I'm not saying there would be some frequent travelers, there would be some really seasoned travelers who would say, I can go anywhere in the world and do things by myself. But this is just done to keep that you get acclimatized to the place, acquainted to the place, and then eventually want to do something by yourself. This is a great time to check the streets, to check a local cafe, go to a nice boutique shop, pick up something for yourself, a local dress or any other artifacts that you want to, or just take a simple walk and see what the city is like. And again, as I said, October is a really beautiful time to be there. So if you see, all these pictures were from late fall last year because you have those Christmas decorations. It's not that gloomy. It's much more brighter and sunny. And a great time to be there. Okay, and see the local produce over there. This is really one good thing about Italy is they love their food and they love talking about food, and they just love their local ingredients and they're proud of it. Both fruits and vegetables and herbs and spices, most of them are locally grown or are being imported from the same countries through millennia. They would be importing some of the things from countries that they've been trading for maybe since 2000 BC, and they're still coming from the same places. So they've maintained the tradition Some of the things on your palate would be a shock because you don't expect the dish to taste the same way as it happens in US. So the authenticity levels would make a difference to what you taste over there. But they love talking about food. They just brag about it. Let me tell you, just not talk. They brag about their food. Again, nice little shops. It gives you a kind of a old school bazaar kind of a feeling, and not the strip mall kind of a feeling where you go and you park your car one place and then you have to drive to the next showroom and so on. This is so convenient. Just hop from one shop to the other within a few hundred yards. And that's where you fly back to US towards the conclusion of the trip, or you have the opportunity to extend your travel to Rome. Now, this trip is inclusive of your air transportation from Phoenix in economy class. As I told, you would definitely have connections, but we'll try to make them the most convenient ones. You have a 7-night accommodation in first-class accommodations in Montecatini. You have 10 included meals on this tour, 7 buffet breakfasts and 3 dinners. The rest of the meals are to be either arranged by yourself, or you can make a group and do something. If the chamber wants to organize something like a reception, the chamber can take that initiative and we can always help them in doing it. The sightseeing program includes things going to Florence, to Pisa, Lucca, Duomo, Sienna, Chianti wine tour, and the place that I cannot pronounce no matter what I do. So, and those kind of things. You have the cultural discovery activities of things like artisan workshops in the Ultramod District of Florence, the wine tasting in Chianti region, and you also have an authentic local dinner at a countryside estate close to Montecatini. You will have a professional tour director assisting you through the tour. Your guides and your drivers would know what they are doing and they know how to run the show very easily. You would be transported in Deluxe motor coaches. Usually these motor coaches are anywhere from 45 to 50 seater, depending on which country you are going to. We have a policy of not filling them up beyond 75% of its capacity. So we don't fill them up to the brim. There are some exceptions where the chambers end up with a group that is a little more than 75% and everybody wants to be in the same bus and not split. Otherwise, we try to keep it that pace. Our staff, local staff, helps you in baggage handling, helping you by loading it in the bus or unloading it over there, helping you in putting it on luggage trolleys and so on. Well, the price for your tour is $3,349 per person on double occupancy, and there is $150 tax on it if you reserve your spot by the 1st of April. Now, I know this presentation is a little tight on that timeline because we're just 17 days away from 1st of April. We will try, the chamber will try, we'll work alongside the chamber if we can extend it, and it's a possibility. Ennis, I can push it ahead to 15th of April if you guys want to buy a little more time. But when we announced the trip, this early bird discount date used to be the 1st of April. After assuming it's 1st of April for now, if you register your tour by 1st of April, you get the price of $3,349, which covers all the things on the right side of the screen. After 1st of April, if you register, the price goes up by $100. If we change this date to 15th of April, the policy remains the same. Up until 15th of April, it's $3,349. After that, it's $3,449. Okay, now you have the opportunity of extending this trip to Rome. So now Rome happens to be a very, I would say, a place which is possibly visited by some people. So we keep it as an option to extend. If you have not seen Rome and if you have the time to see Rome, you're absolutely most welcome to extend your trip over here. Now, the capital to the country of Italy has a lot of things to offer. It is a 2-night, 3-day extension. So if you are extending to Rome, your return date will be the 13th of October and not the 11th. You have 2 nights of accommodation. You have 2 breakfasts included. Your sightseeing, all your entrance fee, your visit to Vatican are included. You will have a tour director, a Deluxe motor coaches, and baggage handling support from our side. Things that you see in Rome are again, I mean, a lot of things would be on, at the back of your mind what you can expect in Rome. But yes, it is a beautiful ancient town. Whenever we do some presentations, cities like Rome or Athens or Cairo, they stand out because they have the honor of being country capitals for so many years. They have continuously been country capitals for more than a couple of millennia, I must say. So yes, they have so many layers of history with them. It's a modern metropolis with a lot of culture and a lot of history. So it's a mix of a lot of things. You go to the Colosseum, you have the visit to check out the Trevi Fountain. If you have any wishes, please do that. And some amazing areas of Rome. You have an optional tour to Vatican. So you can add a Vatican tour depending on whether you want to do it. If you have not done it, if you are very religious, you have again the opportunity of doing that. So it's an optional addition to your Rome tour. Or you can have a free time if you don't want to go to Vatican. But it's a beautiful town to explore. As you see, there's some nice classical building and some modern art right in front of it. You go to the Sistine Chapel over there, and you fly back to US. Again, I will encourage you to go through the itinerary more in detail. If you have any specific questions about a place that is of interest to you, you can always relay that question to me. Okay, now come to the real deal of the whole trip. The advertising is over and the action is on. We'll talk about the first thing, which is visas. So if you hold a US passport or if you hold a Canadian passport, you don't need to apply for a visa to travel to Italy. All you would need are 2 conditions. Number 1 is whether your passport is valid for 6 months beyond your return date from Italy. So if you're just on the first part of the tour, your return date is 11th of October. If you're extending to Rome, your return date is 13th of October. Add 6 months to that. If your passport expires before those end of 6 months, you need to get a new passport to travel to Italy. Otherwise, you're good to go. Also, the other condition you need to fulfill is to have a minimum of 2 empty pages so that the immigration people can stamp on your passport when you arrive in Italy. So 2 empty pages and 6 months of validity beyond your return date is what you need. You don't need to apply for a visa. How to sign up? There are 2 ways to do it. The dearer way for me is the online system, and I have a detailed slide deck after this to show you the benefits of doing online system. But yes, there is a paper form if you don't have a lot of technical knowledge. But let me tell you, the online system is better. Why? I will come to that part slightly shortly. So this is what the paper form looks like. You have to fill 1 for each passenger. There are different sections in it that I'll keep on highlighting here. There is also a link to the online booking system on the cover page as well as on the registration form. You want to take a look at it, and we'll refer to it once we see the registration page. Different sections. The first one is about your personal details. So check what exactly is on your passport. We would love to have those names. If you can also, rather, if we would want you to attach your passport's picture page alongside this registration form for us to tally the spelling of your name, because we would be issuing your flight tickets, your date of birth, your passport number, and so on. And if you have applied for a new passport and you know that you would have a new one, you still enclose your old passport scan with it, because the name and the date of birth would still stay the same. So your registration does not have to wait if you've applied for a new passport. It will also have your address, your email address, and this is the email address we'll use to correspond with you for sending invoices and for sending other details that will help us in assisting you with this tour. Whether you are doing a single occupancy, I will explain the single occupancy slightly later. And if you are doing a double occupancy, who is the person who is sharing the room with you? The second section talks about the optional tours and extensions. So number one is, would you want to do the Cinque Terre, and whether you want to do the Vatican, which is applicable if you're doing Rome. So if you're doing the Cinque Terre, it is for $179 additional. The Rome extension is $699 on a double sharing basis. And if you are single, it is $998. Now, single occupancy means, I'll circle back to this, is that this pricing of $3,349 is based on per person pricing on two people sharing a room. If you don't want to share a room with anybody and have the luxury of the entire room to yourself, there's a supplement that is to be paid on top of the tour price, and that supplement is $699. You'll also see the same thing depicted in a different way for the Rome extension, that if you want to be on a single, you're paying on top of the Rome price over here. The next section actually has two columns. The first column talks about if you are paying before the 1st of April, which is the early bird discount cutoff date, which we have as of now. You add the things that you've added, like optional tours and single supplement if applicable. As I mentioned, there's a tax of $150. You total it up. If you are making a registration after 1st of April, use this particular column. The next section talks about insurance. I have a separate slide just to explain insurance to you, but here is what you have the option of picking insurance. We work with an insurance company called as CSA Generali, and we have a unique feature called as Cancel for Any Reason Protection Plan. There is a separate slide where I'll explain everything to you. So let's say your tour price falls between $3,500 to $4,000. You have the option to pick the trip interruption and cancellation insurance, or add the cancel for any reason, or go for the costlier one, which covers you for a cancel for any reason insurance. You can do yes, I want it, or no, I don't want it. In the later section, the deposit to register is $600 plus the value of optional tours if you are picking any, plus the value of Rome extension if you are doing that, plus the value of insurance. That becomes your deposit. The full and final payment has to be done before 5th of July. So if you are making your first deposit by the 1st of April, you still have 3 more months to make the final payment. So upfront payment is $600 plus optional tours if you're taking any, plus Rome, plus insurance. And the balance comes back by 5th of July. Payment methods. There are 2 particular payment methods over here. And I think Ennis will immediately note that there is no place to put your credit card details over here. There used to be a place for credit card details on our form, and this is one of the changes that has happened. So there are 2 ways to pay for the trip. One is by check and one is by credit card. Now, when I started explaining about the booking method, I did tell you that the online system is more preferred because some of the security protocols of credit card processing companies and banks do not allow us now to key in your credit card details on your behalf on our system, no matter you've authorized it with a signature. So what will happen is, if you say you want to pay by credit card or by check, we would still send you an email on the email address you provided and ask you to key in the details of the credit card on that link to authorize the payment. So eventually you are doing a bit of an online stuff for it. That is because the banks have changed their rules that we can't take a paper approval for credit card payments. It has to be done on your computer, or I must say it has to be done through a unique computer. Now, we have one computer in the New Jersey office which might be taking so many bookings, and it triggers the bank that one computer is processing so many credit cards. That's the reason they don't want us to do it. I hope I've not complicated it. The process is you don't have to authorize it here. However, once you select the tour that you want to book, the configuration you want to book, we will send you an email with a payment link to key in your credit card details. So it's an added level of security. This particular page would not have your credit card details, which is actually a good thing, because it you can always question us that you leaked our details. So it's good for us too. There is a very liberal cancellation policy that we came up because of COVID. Things were changing very rapidly. The airlines were changing their policies. The tour operators in the destinations were changing their policy, were becoming more protective. And that was leading to our passengers getting a little more nervous about their money being lost. And a lot of other organizations that we have heard about retain money of the passengers, and people lost their money. So what we have done over here is that we have created a liberal cancellation policy, which states that if you cancel 131 days before departure, it's a slight math you need to do. 131 days before 3rd of October is 4 months and 10 days before 3rd of October, which is around 23rd of June. So if you cancel before 23rd of June 2022, all the money that is paid to AventuraWorld is given back to you without any questions being asked. When I say all the money paid to AventuraWorld, is all the money that you've paid for your tours, your extensions, your optional tours, but not the money paid to the insurance company. So only the money paid to the insurance company does not come back to you, but all the money that you've paid to us comes back to you. No questions asked, 100% money back guarantee if you cancel 131 days before departure. There are other layers to it. So let's say if you cancel between 130 to 91 days, $800 are retained. Well, there is an insurance option to protect this money, but this is a generic cancellation policy without considering insurance as one of the factors. Let's say you're just canceling it without exercising your insurance in it. This is what it is. You sign it, you put the date, and you send it to the chamber. So you send it to Ennis on the email ID, which is events. You have Ennis's email ID over here. Sorry, it's hiding behind this thing. So svacchamber.com. So that's where you send it. The other and the more preferred method of booking and also managing your bookings, as well as avoiding all the math that you had to do over here, is by doing it online. So here is a link which says aventuraworld.com/booking. Go to this page. This is where you will end up being. Here, if you're a first-time user, you might have to register yourself with your name and email ID, and you will receive an email, and then you verify the account and come back and log in once again. So this is a kind of email you get. You verify yourself and you go back and log in once again by putting your email ID, your password, and this little CAPTCHA code. And you come to this particular page. Here is where you key in the booking code. So if you go back to the form, you have the booking code, which is QEDMWB. Refer to this form and you would be able to key in the booking code over here. Once you key in this thing, you enter the actual booking page of the chamber. You can download the brochure from here also. The first page, there are 6 screens, and apart from the first page, hardly anything to key in the next screens. The first page has the maximum amount of items to be filled in. So if you scroll down, you have your passenger details and other things. And if you want, you can add another passenger. Now, if you remember on the paper form, you have to do 1 form per person. Here, you can do it in one go. And you have the option to pay for both the passengers, or each passenger pays separately. So it is quite convenient. Let's say you're just paying for yourself, but you've still added a co-passenger. That passenger would pay separately, and so on. and you press save and next. You go to the next screen, which asks you whether you want to do a single room or a double room. You're in a single or a double. Any special requests like meals, who is your co-passenger, a twin bed, double bed, things like those. If you are asking for flights not from Phoenix, if you want a flight from elsewhere, any major airport of US, we can offer you a flight quote, and you can join the group either within the first connection or directly at the destination. You can ask for it over here. That kindly quote me a flight quote from Seattle, and we'll give you a price from there. So you can book your tour from elsewhere, any major airport in US. So if you have friends and family who cannot come to Phoenix and join you from there, you can always invite them and say, hey, you're living in Chicago, take a quotation from Chicago. They can fly from there, things like that. And save and next. And we then go to the next page. This is what it is. So I don't live in the area and would like to fly from other city and airport. And if you don't want to fly with us, you just want the land program and you want to book your own tickets, you opt this in, and $800. It reduces the price by $800. So you can book your own flights if you have those miles and want to use that. And then you move to the next page, which talks about the optional tours. You click it. You want to do the optional extension, you click it. If you want to do the optional tour in the extension, you click it. And it also gives you the area to read a little more about this thing. And then you go and save and next. And it then comes to the page which talks about insurance. It gives you the entire reading of it. There are two products of insurance. One is the trip interruption and cancellation, and the other one is cancel for any reason. I will come to a page which talks about this in detail. So there are more important pages over here. And you just agree to it or disagree to it if you don't want it. So you decline it and you move ahead, or you accept it and move ahead. Again, insurance is something I would explain in a later slide, so hold on tight with this information. But this is the only step that you have to do on this particular page. Either agree to it or disagree to it. And the next page gives you the summary of the tour price, if you qualify for the early bird discount, what the other charges are, if any. If you have a voucher from your previous trip, if somebody canceled and has a credit from a previous trip, you can put a voucher detail over here. Whether you want to just put the deposit or whether you want to pay in full, you are allowed to do that too. And you agree to the terms, and you have the option of paying by PayPal or credit or debit cards over here. And then you proceed, and that's it. That completes the whole booking process. So right from creating your login ID, keying in the booking code, getting into the page, filling in your personal details, adding a co-passenger, any special request, if flying from elsewhere, keying in those details, or taking booking your own flights and just taking the land tour, you have the option. The optional tours and optional extensions over here, the computer does all the math for you. You don't have to do it. The agreeing or disagreeing to the insurance, you don't purchase insurance right away. There's a separate portal on which you purchase that now. That allows you to have more control over insurance, because that was another feedback that a lot of passengers were not getting their insurance policies. So now we have created a separate portal where you can manage your own insurance and download the insurance policies by yourself. So, and the summary page that allows you to pay right away. So it's quite quick and it's quite advanced. Travel insurance. Now, this is an important, and I must say, the last section of the presentation today. Travel insurance is a twofold feature. There's a basic trip interruption and cancellation travel policy, which covers you for pre-trip cancellation due to sickness or death of you or immediate family. Sickness has to be proven by a doctor's note that states that you can't travel. It covers you for any medical on the trip. It covers you for trip interruption, different coverages. I have a dummy policy to show you, and I will definitely show you after this slide. It covers you for travel delay. It covers you for missed connections, emergency medical evacuation, lost baggage and personal effects, and baggage delay. Now, there is an additional feature that you can buy at a slightly higher price, which is called as cancel for any reason. Cancel for any reason will have all the things that you see on the left, plus the opportunity of canceling the trip for any reason 48 hours or more before departure. I started with nice pictures and nice stories and fun stuff, and now I'm getting too serious. But these sections are important, and I'm going too much in detail about them. So sorry for that. Sorry for being boring on a Monday night. But if you want to cancel your tour for any reason, 48 hours or more before departure, cancel for any reason empowers you with that. It is slightly pricier than the regular insurance. So let's say you cancel because you don't feel like going. What you would get is 65% of your money back from the insurance company and 35% as a future travel credit from AventuraWorld. So you get 100% coverage, but 65% comes back to you as an insurance claim and 35% comes to you as a future travel credit. However, even if you have canceled for any reason, but you're not going because of sickness, you get the 100% back due to insurance. So there's a difference between any reason and sickness as a reason. So there's a slight difference technical difference over here. How to avail this insurance? So you would want to go to our website and go for this particular link called as titled as travel protection. Jump to the section where you see the red button that says get coverage, and you can review the things that you have in the coverage section, which is the insurance and the cancel for any reason insurance. If you want, you can do a thorough reading of that. Once you click on get coverage, you go to this page, this particular portal for CSA Generali that is made just for AventuraWorld. You put your departure date, you put your return date, the total trip cost, which is there, you would have seen on the booking portal, number of travelers you are buying this insurance for, and the state of residence. This is important because if you are a resident of New York State, you can't go for cancel for any reason. You can take the basic insurance, but you can't get the cancel for any reason if your place of residence is New York. I know nobody here is a resident of New York, but just in case you're inviting somebody who happens to be from New York, you have to give that disclaimer to them. So I put some dummy details like my trip cost is $4,000 and I'm going on these days. It gives me a trip cancellation exactly for the value of the tour. It gives me a $4,000 value for trip interruption. You can read through each of these hyperlinks, how exactly it covers. Travel delays, missed connection, different things, medical and dental for $50,000, emergency assistance and transportation for $50,000. You are most welcome to read through all these articles to know about it. Why I'm asking you to do that is, let's say if you don't buy insurance from us, but happen to buy from elsewhere, or your credit card company is offering it, or your local AAA is your preferred supplier, you have the opportunity of drawing comparisons by seeing what it is costing you and what it is covering you for. So you can do your due diligence before buying insurance. Again, continued, it covers all these things plus the inclusions that it says. For a $4,000 trip, the insurance is $252. If you want to add cancel for any reason, it's additional $126. And as I said, not available to residents of New York State. So I just keyed in some dummy details to show you what a policy or what a portal would show you in terms of coverages. You go to the next screen and you key in your details and your co-passenger details and the address, which is what they would need to create your policy. The travel agency code is depicted over here and it remains the same. Because you're coming through our portal, it will automatically pick this travel agency code. So sorry, I did this mistake. So in your primary destination, I just keyed in Egypt, but it actually should be Italy. And in your primary airline, just select undecided. So Italy over here and undecided over here, because we'll let you know what your airline will be. And step 4 is you pay for the insurance over here. So you're not paying for the insurance on our portal, but you're paying it to the insurance company directly. You are going to get your policy delivered through the insurance company directly. So those were my slides for the Tuscany program. I know there would be questions. I know there would be previous experiences you want to draw comparisons to. So please unmute yourself. You can ask the questions. Anybody who can't speak can ask the questions on the chat. So I am all ears. Melanie, Ennis, you have any questions? Did you notice differences from the previous one?
Yes, I did, but I have a question regarding fuel surcharges.
Uh-huh.
In the brochure, it says that it's $536 per person.
Yeah. So fuel surcharges are already included, and I know where the question is coming from. So that part is included, but do you suspect it's going to go up?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, in the recent March departures, we haven't seen any fuel surcharges coming our way. And this is really right now the hot time happening. 11th of March, I had a departure. There were no fuel surcharges that were levied. I have few departures on the 18th. I don't see anything coming in that way. But if it comes, we have to pass on this cost. I know the fuel prices are going up, and it's something that the airline charges us. And we, in our communication, even in the initial proposal that we sent to you, it is depicted that fuel surcharges are included. But if they go up, now again, this is something like a goodwill thing, Ennis. If it's not significantly high, we will absorb it and you will not even come to know. But if it's significantly high and we can't absorb it, we will pass it on. But I've been in tourism business for 14 years, and I've definitely seen the Afghan war and the Second Gulf War. I have not passed it on to anybody during those times. So hopefully it does not happen this time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We have a question in the chat.
Okay. Hope I had a crystal ball. But I mean, I don't have his itinerary to tell you that. And so much in advance, we would not have it for various reasons, including security reasons. And also, I don't belong to the same faith to keep a tab on it, but it can be found out. Let me tell you, it can be found out. Whether he's there, whether he's addressing and just coming to the window waving, it can be found out. I don't have an answer yet for now. If I was a very, very pious Catholic, I would have everything memorized, but I don't have it right now. But I can find it out for you.
I have a question, Vibe. Sorry, it's Melanie here. So if someone's just doing the regular trip, they're not getting the add-ons, extensions, looking at cost-wise for paying for the trip, and then there's certain meals that are covered, certain ones that aren't. What do you suggest is a good amount of money for them to bring with them, and then the exchange when and how?
Okay, so the major expense is the additional meals that they buy, because the tours and the entrances are all included. So that is one of the major expense, that all the meals that are not included, you would be buying them. On an average, a decent restaurant meal in that part of Europe for lunches, it's somewhere around 20 euros, I would say $25, without any alcoholic beverages. Factor in $30 for a decent restaurant. I mean, if you upgrade, go to a much costlier restaurant. If you go further distance and take a cab, you might have to factor all those things in. But the price levels are very similar to any urban area of United States. The other thing that one has to factor in would be the tipping. Now, we definitely discuss tipping scales when we do our pre-departure sessions, when we talk about the passengers who have booked and they would like to factor those things in. On an average, for a 9-day tour, tipping to various people, including drivers, guides, and other facilitators, if you want to tip anyone, ranges from $15 to $20 a day. That's what you want to budget. So for a 9-day tour, $180 to $200 for tipping, that's what you want to keep. The rest of the things are like, if you want laundry, if you want shopping, if you are spending on drinks and stuff like that, there is no limit to it. So I can't comment. So mostly for the items like meals and tipping, that's what you want to factor in, how many meals you would be buying by yourself and how much you would be tipping. That's what I can say. Beyond that, things like phone calls or some special, you get internet, a good, decent Wi-Fi in your hotel room. But if you really want a high quality, high bandwidth one, the hotel has separate charges. If you are that kind of a person, factor that in. If you want to make international phone calls, factor those kind of things in. So there are different things, but the first upfront stuff is food and tipping. But otherwise, apart from that, shopping and all those things are very much personal to each and everybody, how they want to budget it. But you can use your personal credit cards, and you can get exchanges. The best thing to do is carry some US dollars with you and get an exchange while in Italy. This will allow you to get decent rates and smaller bills, because it's tough to find small euro bills with your local money change. And then again, let's say if you're left with some spare euros, you have to come back and get it changed again to USD. You're basically losing the conversion money twice. So use your credit cards. You can use your debit cards, insert them into ATM machines. And let's say you have a Wells Fargo debit card. You go to Italy, you put it in the ATM machine. Although your bank is holding US dollars, but the machine will dispense equivalent value of euros after deducting some kind of a fee. So that is one of the most convenient ways to do it. Okay, we have awesome question, Larry. So yes and no. We've had these questions in a group scenario many times. In a group booking, you can get a seat assignment, but there's a trick to it. The airlines, so there are two parts to it. Let's say you are still staying in the same category of the booking, which is the economy class, in the generic economy class. Then you have to use the online system of the booking management of the particular website to do a seat selection, or call up their call center to do that. Now, if you're upgrading, let's say within the same class, going to an emergency exit row or doing a bulkhead seat, there are different prices that the airline would charge you. You can pay it on their portal. If you're upgrading further, you can ask for the upgrades upfront from us if you want a business class or a premium economy. Or if you're upgrading later on by yourself, you can interact with the airline. So seat assignment is a twofold thing. Number one, if you're maintaining the same class of flying, then it is through their Manage My Booking portal of the respective airline, or through the call center. If you are upgrading, it's directly through the airline. If you're upgrading the class, it can be through us or through the airline. Okay, any other questions? But the good part is this session was being recorded just in case you want to revisit any section that you missed out, for the people who started a little late, or for the people who found my concluding slides a little more complicated. You can go through the recording. But once you familiarize yourself with the flyer as well as the online booking system, you would find it very easily when you do it just by yourself. And yes, we are happy to answer questions. You can relay all your questions through Ennis so that he has a repository of all those FAQs. On my end, if Ennis, you want me to extend the EBD cutoff, I can do it to 15th of April. Give me an entire month to people.
Let's do that.
Sure. Okay.
That way we can let everybody finish their taxes and maybe use their tax return.
Yeah. So hope you have saved taxes, you get your returns, and you can divert that money to the trip. And if you lose taxes, oh shoot, then you will not travel.
No, you'll still travel. You can pay your taxes later.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
all. Very nice meeting you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
We will have this video posted hopefully tomorrow at the same place on our website. So
Oh,
if you go to our website and you just take a look at it for more information, we should have this video hopefully up tomorrow. So that way
Okay.
you can go ahead and review.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Well, you all have a great night.
Thank you,
Thank you.
you
You
too.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, I think I'll close the session and you can stop the recording.